Okay, so welcome everyone to this afternoon's webinar on ownership of learning. My name is Natasha, I'm the network facilitator here at Whole Education. And today's webinar is being led by Bolton Church of England Primary School, and we're really lucky to be joined by Deborah, who's the head teacher of the school and one of her members of staff. So what we'll do today is we're going to hear a little bit from the school and what they've been doing in this subject area for a few minutes. Then we'll take some questions at the end. And I just wanted to bring to your attention that we do have two other webinars coming up. One is on the 28th of June on growth mindsets, and that will be with Hampton Vale Primary School and Victoria Park Primary Academy. And on the 29th of June, we have a webinar on transition with Plattbridge Community Primary School. But further details will follow on those. So if I hand over to Deborah and her colleague, and I think away we go. So Deborah, I'm going to give you the screen now.
All right, thank you. Okay, hi everyone. This is Bolton Parish Church of England Primary School. Our webinar today is a focus on ownership of learning. Just to give it a bit of context, we're a school that's requires improvement. We've been head here since 2014, September 2014. 6 days in, we were inspected, which was quite exciting. And I'm also part of a multi-academy trust. Now the trust is actually supporting the school, and one of the things that we found coming into the school was that the levels of engagement from our pupils about the learning was very low. And one of the first things we did was to empower the children in understanding their own learning, and this is a little taste of some of the things that we do here. Year 6 teacher and assistant head that is with us is Ruth Onyekaba, who's going to talk us through some of the systems and processes that have had the biggest impact really with our children in school.
Hi everyone. So Bolton Parish's mentoring system is really the tool that we use to place all children at the centre of learning, and we find that this raises achievement for all. Mentoring happens from their starting points all the way through until they are secondary ready. And mentoring ensures children in Year 6 are secondary ready by ensuring that a higher proportion of these pupils clear the existing bar, or in our terms, achieve secure or exceeding for their year group. We use mentoring as a tool for our children to master the curriculum by understanding their learning at greater depth. We also see that children, through mentoring, become more ambitious learners and take this with them after their primary years.
So for us, what does mentoring mean, and what does it mean to Bolton Parish? And a bit, why do we use it? It was very clear, like we've said before, the children did not understand what they were learning, why they were learning, and neither did the parents. So the mentoring system is really focused, it's child-centred, it's collaborative, and it's based on actually discussing and making a dialogue about children's learning. And obviously it motivates them, it engages them, and I hope if you've had a chance to watch the video, you can see these children now are able to articulate their own learning. But again, the aim of the system is to raise standards, the ultimate goal, motivate them, engage them, and also involve the parents in that process too. So improving outcomes also gives the teachers a greater understanding of each of the children's journeys. It allows children to know their next learning steps, so what it is that they need to know next. It ensures consistency, that's in every class, and accuracy, so our assessments become more consistent and more accurate. Every half term it's updated, we inform parents on a very regular basis, and obviously it's part of that dialogue with class teacher and child as well, and that's a day in, day out, lesson in, lesson out. We facilitate lots more opportunities for parents in school as well to make sure that the children are communicating the learning, with the progress that they make. And I think it's quite clear with the children, they're actually very happy to talk about their learning now. They understand it. It's a very safe approach and a very non-threatening approach, and it's very much a child-friendly approach too.
So breaking it down, what does mentoring look like at Bolton Parish? So we have broken it down into 4 parts, and we'll later discuss these in turn. But to begin with, assessment. Children learn best when they understand where their learning fits in, and the mentoring system really makes it very clear at what point the children are at in their learning and how they can improve. Number 2 is tracking. The children learn best when they know how they are progressing, and the mentoring system is very, very clear that the children can highlight what they're doing really well and plug the gaps, and they can track the mentoring with the parents, with the teachers, with anybody really, with their peers, so it makes it really clear for them. Target setting. The children learn best when they are shown how to make it better, and we integrate target setting into our marking system, and we have a RAG rate across the work that the children do, and we relate that to the homework and to the mentoring, so it's very much a cohesive tool that we use. And finally, support. The children learn best when they have ownership of their learning, and certainly mentoring has given the children the ownership. It has given parents more idea about what the children are learning in school, and so they challenge their children, encourage their children to be ambitious and to learn in that way, and with the support of others it builds that support for us in school as well.
Yeah, and I think it's important to stress that it isn't just academic. This is about their attitudes to learning, and that's what we really want the children to have, ownership and that understanding. It's their attitude that will have that biggest impact. How we engage our children to be active participants in their own learning journey. Children, we know, learn best when they understand where their learning fits into the curriculum, what they're trying to learn, and we make a focus every half term, and the mentoring files are always available to the children. It becomes regular, it's custom and practice. They refer to the mentoring files and their targets all the time.
The children are very aware as well of the objectives within their band and stage they should be working on, and certainly in upper key stage 2 they talk quite openly about the key performance indicators that they need to achieve in order to make sure they're secure and move on to the next band. So it's everyday practice, and this is common language for our children, and again that goes back to the ownership of their learning.
So here we've got an example page of one of the children's mentoring files. We've used the band statements that we've printed off from our target tracker, which has our whole school assessment system. And one of these pages, obviously this is maths, and as you can see they're highlighted, they are dated. There's evidence here where the child has completed a target in breakfast club. Again, there's examples of a prove it where the child's actually done a calculation at the top. Most things are dated, and you can see that is by teacher and child. But again, all the learning objectives that we use in school come from these target tracker assessments, and the language that we use is very child friendly to enable the children to access that understanding of what they are learning and what they need to do next.
We also provide challenges for the children in our marking, so we take these challenges directly from the mentoring sheets, and we say that a child is secure when they've achieved the objective 3 times, and then we work on mastery and skills and working at this objective in greater depth.
Okay, you can see now that while the children are completing work again, we talk about proving it, so we cross-reference then to working exercise books. So an example here of how tenses have been changed, response to marking. T, again, identified and cross-referenced back to the mentor sheets. Is there anything else you want to add on that part of the children?
I think when we identify a target for a child, we put a T next to it, so they make a conscious effort to try to include that in the learning. And that's something that when a teacher marks the book, if they've not included it, we would then cross-reference and make sure that they're addressing that in order to fulfil the target. Again, like I said, we use the targets for the fix-its as well. Sometimes in my class, certainly, if a child believes that they have met a target but is not 100% confident that they can use it, they write a note at the bottom of the page, and that's something that, you know, they make the teacher aware of to look out for next time. So when we can see evidence of it, we then can highlight it.
So for us as a school, feedback at the point of learning is essential, and that's how we manage it with our mentoring sheets and mentoring tracking. We know that they learn best when they know how they are progressing, how well they're doing, why they are progressing, and again, feedback about the work and their learning. Okay, and we use this by using colours, and we use the RAG rated system of red, amber and green in absolutely everything we do, whether it be uniform, whether it be marking, whether it be our behaviour system. But again, the RAG is very clear to the children, so we're not using levels, we're not using numbers, we're not using symbols, we are using red, amber and green throughout everything that we do. And that is reported in exactly the same way. So where RAG's given for work, a fix-it is always given to, in order for them to either, you know, if they've missed something, they need to improve it, or again, if they've not got it, it might identify the children that we need to hotspot and further work with and implement those changes.
We report to parents using our RAG system as well, so that's not only used in school, it's used outside of school as well. We have something in mentoring called hotspotting, and we hotspot the children if they receive a red, which means then that the teacher and teaching assistants target those children who have similar gaps in their learning, and they use pre and post teaching strategies to plug the gaps in the mentoring file to address these misconceptions. The children then have an opportunity to go back to correct their initial work to change the red RAG to an amber or to a green. So we're always giving children that opportunity to improve and to change the RAG.
Okay, again, another example of a piece of work here, children responding to questions. Again, you know, what's the difference between past and present, and perfect and simple perfect? You know, present perfect has, have. And again, it's very clear when children are responding to that marking, you know, so that's having an impact on the learning.
You may also notice that the fix-it here, the what's the difference between, is actually a Band 6 National Curriculum objective. So this enables teachers as well to make sure that the challenges are pitched very accurately for the needs of the children, and to make sure that every intervention that we do, every fix-it, is pitched to the right level.
So children learn best when they're shown how to make it better. They understand what do they need to do next in order to improve the learning. And this is an example of one of the review forms that we use. Again, this is from spring term, so we do this updated each half term within autumn, spring and summer, and reported again to parents. It's very clear if they are SEN supported, if they have an early health care plan. And again, you know, we make sure that anything that they need to know next is identified and communicated with parents, which is essential for us. Again, at the top we've got reading, writing, maths, mental maths. At the bottom we've got attendance, punctuality, classroom behaviour, playground behaviour, effort, homework and uniform. And again, we get the children involved in this too. They sign it, they're involved in it, they know about what they have to do.
A copy of the parents' report form is always included in the child's mentoring file as well. So throughout the year they can refer to it and update it. So next term, when we present another one to the parents with the children, they know and very aware of what's coming up.
So again, ownership of learning for us is extremely essential to making this system work. It's a supportive tool, it supports others, it helps the children, it communicates well with parents. And again, the children work as mentors to each other, they peer mentor, and that's that collaborative approach that we found has had the biggest impact in them understanding and owning their own learning. Again, an example here.
This is actually an example of one of my mentoring meetings, and that's a piece of work that we were looking at earlier, and we were cross-referencing the achievements from that work to the mentoring file and date it. Quite often the children will date it and get it checked by a teacher, but on this occasion during the mentoring meeting I was doing so. The following slides will show you the structure and the content of the mentoring meeting. So generally what it looks like in a school is that the child will have a mentor, which is usually the class teacher, and the child and class teacher will meet for 15 minutes every half term. To that meeting the child will bring a mentoring file and usually some evidence of work, the books, the literacy and numeracy books, and they will discuss the achievements that they've made that half term, and they will set new targets. The new targets are obviously set in conjunction with the teacher assessments, and I generally use my gap analysis from tests and just from assessment for learning when teaching to set these targets. And usually we'll set 3, but actually during that half term, obviously if a child meets a target, you can set 1 outside of the mentoring meeting. The current learning, the child's current learning and next steps are discussed with the parents and also in the mentoring meeting with the teacher, and both child and parent get a copy of what you've discussed at the meeting. And then mentoring files are updated with any current work that displays the child's achievements and what they've achieved from the mentoring file.
So mentoring meetings, feedback to pupils about the current performance, what progress they make, anything that isn't on track we challenge, any underachievement is immediately addressed, it's never missed. It's always an opportunity to move forward. We agree what we're going to do to help the children, what interventions are going to be put in place. We communicate those mentoring agreements with other teachers, and we check that targets are understood, that the children really know what it is that we're going to do to help and support them in this learning process. And that understanding that it is their responsibility as well, that they're active participants in their own learning and they have that ownership. We check any agreed support is being implemented, and we check also that that is having impact, and if not, we change it. And again, communication is key. Communicate any outcomes to all, what is happening, what's being successful, what needs changing, and again, you know, what do we need to do more of, what do we need to do less of. We also work with the 3 W's, what works well, and an EBI, which is even better.
I think from a teacher perspective and having my own class, something that I've certainly gained from this is just a deeper insight into every child in my class. I know them extremely well, and these mentoring meetings build really good relationships with each and every individual, and the children build that element of trust with you and know that they can approach you, whether it be about learning or something else. So I think outside of the academic, that has been really important to me, and it's certainly worked for my children as well.
So what is it in terms of what do the children get from it? And it definitely, we see here great evidence that they take greater ownership of their own learning. They're more focused, they're more happy, and more importantly, they achieve their potential, whatever that may be. And much closer working relationships between parents and school. and at the end of the day everyone works smarter, not harder. Thank you. I think we've gone through the key principles in terms of our ownership of learning, and I hope that has been useful.
That was
Any questions?
fantastic. That was great. Thank you very much, ladies. Really, really informative. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go round and just see if anyone has any questions. So the first person I'm going to ask is Christine Riding. Christine, do you have any questions?
No, thank you. I don't have any questions.
Okay, no problem. Next one is Jill Harris.
I'm fine, thank you. That was very nicely presented.
Okay, lovely. Julie Sutton.
You're unmuted. Julie Sutton.
Ah,
No
hello.
more questions. The voice has changed.
There's a few of us here.
Oh, right, okay. Or Julie Sutton's party then. Has anybody got any questions?
Yeah. No, we're fine, thank you. That was very interesting.
Okay. I'm then going to go to Lindsay. Hello, Lindsay.
Oh, she said she got them tonight. Go on. Well, no, she didn't say that, but the way she didn't.
No, don't know if she's there or not. Marie, do you have any questions?
Yeah. No, that's fine. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Okay, fantastic. I'm then going to go to Robert. Hi, Rob. Have you got any questions? No, I don't think he does. Jenny.
Hi.
Hi, Jenny. Have you got any questions?
Yeah, can I just ask, hi Deb,
Hi.
how do you facilitate for every teacher to meet for 15 minutes with each child, and what happens to the rest of the children?
Yeah, we do need to use supply cover to facilitate some of that. Well, not supply as in sense of teachers coming in, but we do cover staff with our staff in school. We also use assembly times. We use times within the lesson as well, and we also have something called Feedback Friday, where we have a dedicated slot in the timetable to actually make some of these meetings happen. And again, the children work independently.
Lovely, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jenny. Marie, have I asked you? Have you got any questions at all?
No, I haven't, thank you.
Okay. And then I'm going to go on to Jade. Don't know if Jade is still on the line. I think Jade may have gone off the line. Okay, fantastic. Okay, ladies, well, I think we're coming up to time and looks like nobody's got any questions. So I suppose it's just left for me to say thank you very much for today's presentation. Today's webinar has been recorded. So what I'll do is I'll send an email around to everyone with your presentation, with the video again, and make sure everyone can see each other's details in case they want to get in touch. So I don't know if there's anything else you want to add, ladies, or say before we go?
No, fine, thank you.
All right, fantastic. All right, well, thanks so much for joining us today, everyone, and have a good rest of the day. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.